let's continue the Paranormal Activity series with part 2. Here we are still in this haunted house. Nothing's really happened yet except for the light bulb blew out, so now I'm in night vision mode, but thank God I wrote my notes on my cell phone so I can see my notes still. This movie came out 1 year after the last one, and the last one was made on a budget of like, what, $13,000 or some shit? This one has a $3 million budget, and it doesn't feel any bigger, doesn't feel more grand, doesn't feel more explosive. There's not much going on in this movie where I was like, I can see where the budget went. Where the fuck did the budget go? Just curious. The house is bigger. And the house in the last one was the director's house. I forgot to mention that in my last review. That was the director's house. Now, this one has a different director. It was supposed to be Kevin Grayden, however you say his name, from Saw 6, but he had to direct Saw 6 instead of this movie. And which is good because I love Saw 6. It's like my favorite sequel next to part 3. People hate 3. I don't get it. 3 is awesome. But this one, yeah, came out 1 year later, bigger budget. But honestly, not much better, really. Like, I wasn't crazy about this. Anybody? Like, I don't know the general consensus, like, what everyone thinks about this franchise. I don't talk to anybody about this franchise, so I don't know what's the most liked sequel, what's the least liked sequel. I don't know, but this wasn't that good. It's not terrible, but I was just like, okay. Like, I wasn't even crazy about the first one, but this one was just like the first one all over again. It's like the Friday the 13th series to me. Rinse and repeat. But let's go over this movie more in depth in this week's horror franchise Wednesday.
Paranormal Activity 2.
Things I like about this movie is that it has some continuity. It's got the same exact cast members from the first one. This is a prequel sequel-ish. Mainly a prequel to the first one, and I dig it. I like that it explains more, like, why. Like, that was my question in the first movie, was why is this happening? It's just random, and then we get a little bit more explanation, and I like that this movie is basically built off of, like, one line, one moment in part 1 when she's like, yeah, this happened to me and my sister when we were kids. So she says that she has a sister. Therefore, you're thinking, is the sister going to have these similar experiences too while this shit's going on? Yep. And that's what this movie's about. It takes place like less than 2 months before the events of part 1, and we get to see Katie's sister, and she's going through similar things, very similar things. Katie's visiting every now and then. I thought Katie was the one responsible for the shit happening. I thought it was a coincidence. Like, every time Katie came by, it got worse. So I thought that was going to be like the twist. Like, oh, it's because Katie came to visit. Maybe she shouldn't visit no more. But that was not the twist. That's what's lacking in these movies so far. Like, there's no twist. There's nothing that, like, shocks me. I'm like, okay, yeah, we saw that coming. So that's kind of a bummer. But I like that we get a little bit of an explanation. I like that it's a prequel and it kind of ties into the first movie very good. So you can watch these like back to back. The credits at the end, they have like all the sounds throughout the film that were supposed to make you like scared. They play throughout the credits, so it's like very quiet. And it's got like creepy noises playing, ghost sounds, and doors creaking, and little toys going off. I thought that was kind of neat. So other than that, that's about it. I think the hottest chick in this movie is the daughter. She's supposed to be like, what, 16, 17 years old, but she's clearly a 23, 24-year-old chick, and she's in Last Man Standing. I thought she was gorgeous. And the best scene in this movie, spoiler alert, is the end. The end when Katie comes back for revenge, because you find out that they are the ones responsible for Katie's demise in the first one. So, alright. Negatives for the movie. It's very repetitive. Not just, like, even if this was, like, the only one, it's repetitive within itself. Like, shots. They go through the same exact camera angles over and over and over again, and nothing really even happens for a good 35, 40 minutes. Like, nothing, like noteworthy. Nothing that actually, like, scares you. It's just nothing. Like, maybe, like, a little pool cleaner thing will, like, bounce out of the pool. But that's not scary. Why does I guess the ghost doesn't like clean pools. But yeah, it's very slow. Like, the first act of this movie, it didn't connect with me, these characters, the way that the first one worked to a degree. I was like, all right, I like these two people. But now we get a bigger family, and I don't give a shit. I really don't. And I was confused too. Like it jumps a year without saying it. It was like an infant baby, and then all of a sudden the infant baby is like over 1 year old. And I was like, oh, is that the same baby? I thought there was two babies, but it took me a while to realize that, oh, it's a year later. But it never told me, so I was confused. Fuck you, movie. How dare you? But yeah, like, why are they filming anything? It makes no sense. Like, I understand why they got security cameras, because everything got like ransacked and like, oh my gosh, somebody broke in and didn't steal anything. Let's get cameras. But they have like handheld cameras and they're always filming weird shit. And nobody owns a pair of socks. Why are they filming? Like, oh, let's film us in the kitchen. Let's film us in the bathroom. That's the last spot that a camera belongs. Let's film the nanny dancing. It's just dumb. Like, it feels forced, like how often they're filming stuff just for us to see shit that isn't even scary or remotely interesting. So quit filming it. And like the dad's like filming his daughter painting her toes and establishing very early on that he has night vision just to let us know, like, hey, we're gonna need this later, foreshadowing. They don't take risk in this movie either. There's moments where I was like, if they do this, this will go up a point. They don't kill the dog, not that I'm aware of. They hurt the dog off camera, and then it's just implied that maybe it died. I don't know. Do they say? Like, we see the wife on the phone and she's like, is she okay? But we never like see any like emotional response that would tell us, oh, she was told that it was dead. No. So the dog's alive, I'm guessing. They let the daughter live because she was conveniently on a school trip. She was gone, so the little girl gets to make it, and the little infant gets kidnapped by Katie. Spoiler alert, shit. But does she kill the kid? Like, if she would have picked that kid up and then chucked it right at the camera and then boom, cut the black and just credits roll, instantly a point, at least a letter grade for that alone, just for having the balls to do something that crazy. But no, it's playing it safe. We can't piss anybody off. This is a mainstream audience. This is in America. We can't kill children. We can't kill dogs. Bullshit. Michael Myers eats them. So I want to see some dogs die. I want to see this movie take some risk, and it didn't take shit. I don't even think the nanny died. Did the nanny die? I don't think she did. So yeah, just very disappointing. Who the fuck would be knocking at the door of an abandoned house at 4 in the morning? Hello? Okay. I could have swore I heard knocking. There was no one there. Fucking teenagers. Alright, so now, final thoughts. This movie is just like the first one, but nowhere near as effective. It has the same chills and thrills, but nowhere near as cool or as eerie as the first one. It's just beat by beat, the same stuff over and over and over again. Rinse and repeat. Same characters, different family connected to those other characters, but we see them here and there. It's cool to see their faces again. It's cool that it's connected. It's got continuity. But other than that, it's kind of slow at the very beginning, but it's still not like a terrible movie. The acting's good. So if you're a fan of the first one, this is still worth checking out. So when it comes to Paranormal Activity 2, check this one out if you can at Redbox. Spoiler discussion. I don't have much to say, so I've already kind of spoiled the movie, so shit. Alright, but we get this family, they move into another different city in LA, not LA, California. Same thing, right? No. West Coast is the best coast. That's what they say in this. Wait, no. No, that's something else. No, that's not what they say in this. I'm mixing a different movie. But I don't agree with that statement at all. West Coast is not the best coast. So we get this Chargers fan family in here. Why are they Chargers fans in California? That's weird. Wouldn't you be like an Oakland Raiders fan or a 49ers fan? But we got some Chargers fans in California. And Katie is back. We see her. The house is trash. They hired this tech cam company that they're putting the cameras in all the rooms, and they have like blue night vision, kind of like my camera. Fake out scare with the clogged toilet. It's kind of like reminiscent of the first one with the spider fake out scare. You think something's happening, but it's like, nope. She's just screaming because the toilet was clogged. Kind of an overreaction to seeing shit. Literally. And then Mika pops up and it says that this is 60 days before he dies. So basically a month before the initial events of part 1. And then we see the typical stereotype Latino middle-aged nanny or maid who doesn't speak a little bit of English at all, like zero. Does she say anything in English at all? Like, she prefers to speak Spanish. The family knows Spanish to a degree, so they kind of have, understanding between each other. They can understand each other, but once they're speaking English and she replies back in Spanish, it's like, why can't you just both speak the same thing? Whatever. But it's just weird when I see that in film where there's like a bilingual conversation going on, like they're speaking this language and they're speaking this. It's like, why are you just choose one? I don't care if you both choose Spanish or English, just choose one. And because it's found footage, we don't get subtitles, so I don't understand what the fuck she's saying. Lo siento, I don't speak Espanol. Ich spreche Deutsch, but that's it. And then we get similar scares. The door creaks, a little toy goes off, and it's going to the kitchen, and the pot falls down. And the little girl, like, she's not miffed by it at all. Like, she's not shocked, doesn't even care. Like, she even says at one point, like, I hope we're haunted, because she thinks that ghosts are all good. She's like, why do you think ghosts are all evil, Dad? But the dad doesn't believe in it. Like, why would you assume that they're evil? It's like, because have you seen any movie ever? That's why. And then, like, the door is wide open at night. Parents are gone at dinner. Just her with the little infant in the house. And she's kind of like, oh, all right. And she just goes and shuts it. Like, really? You're not scared? Like, I'd be fucking terrified. Like, just unrealistic reactions like that take me out of the movie. And another thing that takes me out of the film is when you see 555 as a number. They're like, oh, 555. Ever since 8675309, we can't say real phone numbers in movies or songs. It's illegal, I guess. But why write 555? It's just annoying. Don't. Stop. Just put like a thumb over a couple digits. That way you're getting away with it, or don't show it to us at all. Something. Like 555, fucking stop it. We get a similar drags sequence where the chick's being dragged, except this one we see her like dragged not only out of the room, but all the way downstairs. It's kind of comedic. I chuckled just seeing her go poop, 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 poop. But yeah, and the dad's hard to convince that anything's really going on, kind of like Mika in the first one. That's another thing about this movie. Like, I think I already said these characters, I don't give a shit. There wasn't anybody funny. Like, there's the boyfriend of the main daughter who brings the Ouija board over. I forgot to mention that. We get to find out where Mika gets the Ouija board, because in the first one he says, I borrowed one, I didn't buy it, and I'm pretty sure this is the Ouija board, so therefore he borrowed it from Kate's sister's daughter, stepdaughter, whatever, which would mean, in taking the end of this movie into account, the daughter knows that they basically put the demon or entity onto Katie in her house, and therefore it's fucked up that she would give them a Ouija board too on top of it. I don't know. That just doesn't seem right. Anybody else, like, she isn't on board with the plan. The dad is like, we're gonna burn this picture, so we get to find out why that picture in the attic in the first movie was burnt, because they burn it, and apparently that's how you summon the demon or transfer the demon or entity, whatever, to a different person, is by burning a photo of them. But why would you, if you're not on board, why would you give him a Ouija board to just invite more demons into us? I don't know. There's a shot of like the baby in the crib being dragged like up the like side of it, but they don't kill it. Like I said, this movie's safe. This family apparently uses very good Windex because a bird flies right into their window. It's kind of like those commercials. So the bird snapping its neck on the window, I guess you could say, is foreshadowing the dad's demise at the end, when he just gets his neck snapped. Chrissy, she gets dragged, and then she's possessed too. She gets like a bite mark on her, just like Katie in the first one. So like I said, rinse and repeat. Like every like little key moment is just redone again, but not effective. They fire the nanny at one point because she's like trying to do like her cultural, like her like little method. In her culture, this is what they do to like ward off bad spirits and invite good ones in. And she gets fired. Maybe she shouldn't have had the baby in her hand with lit like paper on fire. What the fuck was she thinking? Put the baby down. But then she gets called back later to help out, and she tells them that they have to basically transfer the demon to Katie. And this movie introduces this idea of maybe the Katie and Chrissy family they're rich because their great-great-grandmother maybe made a deal with the devil, and now it's been waiting forever for a firstborn son to kill and take. I don't know, I thought that was just dumb. Like, that's not needed here. I'm sure it's going to go somewhere in the sequel, but that's why they end up, like, taking the son at the beginning of this. At the very end. What the fuck am I thinking? But yeah, like, is that going to come into play in the later sequels, I'm guessing? Because in part 3, I believe they go way back to when they're children. Maybe that's real, and we find out that the grandmother really did make a deal with the devil, but I just thought that was dumb. The whole, we gotta take the firstborn because we made a pact with the devil to get rich. Like, ugh, how generic. The co-writer for this movie directed Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2, Christopher Landon, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think that's about it. The kitchen... There's a scene where, like, she's in the kitchen, everything just blows wide open. Then we get to see the pool cleaner jump out. Katie kills the sis the same way she kills her boyfriend Mika, just by doing telekinetic powers, like she's Captain Jack Spirit, and just throws her right up against the camera with the baby in hand, and then she, like, falls forward. So if that force was strong enough to completely kill the mother with the baby in hand, I think that baby would be fucking dead, or at least very, very well injured. Like, the cry we hear after that is just like a normal baby cry. It's like, no, that would be tears of absolute agony. Because not only did that baby get crushed up against the wall with the mom, but then crushed on the floor with the mom on top of her, or him, whatever. And yep, that's about it. She steals the baby. The end. So, yeah, not a whole lot interesting going on in this movie. They go in the basement, and there's, like, this night vision sequence that's supposed to be scary. There's, like, all this fast forward shots of the baby walking. It's supposed to be creepy, but it didn't work. And yeah, that's about it. So those are my thoughts on Paranormal Activity 2. Let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Like this video and share it with all your friends. And if you want to become a subscriber, you can do so just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.